Hey everybody, it's Glenn here at Sauna Times, and welcome to this episode of Sauna Talk. This is the podcast about sauna and most often recorded on the sauna bench. This is a very special episode on two levels. The first is this is the final episode of Sauna Talk from the Finland series. And the second reason why it is extra special is I'm pleased to introduce Jasper Pääkkönen. He is the founder and owner of Lolu Spa in Helsinki, Finland. Just an incredible facility and an incredible guy. It was so great to sit down with him, and I'm just so overjoyed that you're going to be able to hear the origins of Lolu Spa and what sauna means to Finns from his words. He's a leader known very well all over Finland. Young guy, deep heart, loved by many in Finland, and I'm just so overjoyed. And again, I have to give a big thank you to Iki Stos and Samuli for connecting me with Jasper. He graciously took my text and call and sat down together. Another evidence of the Finns' love of sauna and their willingness to be open to meeting people enthusiastic about sauna. So before I begin, I want to recircle back on this episode, and it's the 12th episode from the Finland series. And as I review these, I want to list them for you. If you haven't heard them, I encourage you to go back and to this podcast and revisit any or all of these that may be of relevance. 12 episodes. I was in Finland for 12 days. I was crazy. I took 50 saunas in 12 days. I was a madman, but I was energized. I think, sure, there was some endorphin rush happening, but I was well conditioned for sauna and am well conditioned for sauna. And the heat is so familiar. And those that are interested in going to Finland and checking out the many public saunas, and it's not difficult. I mean, you and I experienced this. If you want to talk sauna, you don't have to go far. You just visit with somebody anywhere, on the tram, on the bus, in the station, on the sauna bench. Sauna is part of the DNA, part of the culture, and it's very comfortable and easy. So the first podcast episode, I was met. This is Finland. I mean, I was met at the airport, not just, hey, I'll meet you at the station or call me when you get in, but I was met at the airport, at the gate, by Jarmo Lehtana, who is a more than a pro. He's not a pro. He doesn't get paid for his love for sauna. He is a sauna expert, and sauna is deep in his heart. I encourage you to check that out, where we went to Sampu Sauna, which was just a surreal day, and to get information from Jarmo is quite insightful about the depth of sauna. Number two, Risto Elämä, President, International Sauna Association, where we sat at the iconic Sauna Sera, Finnish Sauna Society, 7 saunas, most of them savu saunas, wood-fired saunas. You'll hear an in-depth interview with me and Risto about the history of how sauna relates globally. Number 3, Dr. Jari Laukkanen, cardiologist, the world leader in sauna research, and excited to share with you guys work that I'm doing personally and donating my time with a nonprofit, the Sauna Research Center. On the heels of this interview, you'll hear live and direct the collaborative opportunities that we're building together globally. The 4th episode, Varjola Resort, up in the center part of Finland. You'll get a nice flavor from 2 wonderful folks on staff at the resort about the culture of sauna in a resort setting. Number 5, Sartu and Karita, Sauna from Finland, and their work sharing the authentic sauna experience in other countries. A great export of Finland and what that means. Number 6, Harvia World Headquarters, sitting down with Kimo and Sammy, who is the marketing director. They're the global leader in sauna sales. And number 7, Jesse and Narvi Stoves, a surreal visit out into the lakeshore, an old school sauna where we really spoke from the heart from this sauna. Number 8, T for Two saunas. Again, a shout out to Samuli connecting me with a wonderful, wonderful individual, Tia, who has 11 sauna properties that she manages in a catering business and a school. Her right-hand assistant, Annie, in our visit on the sauna bench was very touching. Number 9, talk about touching, Karulin Sauna in Helsinki, and Sara and her great work and her product developments, and very pleased to be offering her products here in the United States for the first time. You can see that on Sauna Times. Number 10, Sauna Timo. He died and came back to life on the sauna bench from the 2010 Finnish Global World Championships. An amazing story from an amazing human being and a big-hearted guy. Number 11, Kimo, Usi Sauna and Arlo Sauna. His history and deep movement toward bringing sauna forward in many capacities in a mobile environment, as well as now these new public saunas, and really the tip of the spear of a lot of this urban sauna revival. And if Kimo's tip of the spear, number 12, this episode, Jasper, this is the spear, Lolu Spa. If you haven't heard of it, please look on Sauna Times. You'll see some photos of this magnificent public restaurant, bar, sauna, right on the shores of the Baltic, right in Helsinki. A spot you have to see. Time Magazine, world's most 100 spots that you got to visit, and I couldn't agree more. So that's the history of the 12 episodes from the Finland series on this podcast, Sauna Talk. And that's a long intro, but Jasper, we met in the morning. It was my last day pretty much in Finland, and we sat down and we talked about his acting career and the history in Everyman's Rights. Again, this came up a couple times in the podcast series from Finland about, what it means to be a Finn and land ownership and sharing of land, education, the education system in Finland, what it means to be egalitarian in that sense, and the parallel to how it relates on the sauna bench of being equals and no titles, no ego. Being present in that space. Lolu Spa, you'll hear directly from him on the origins and the history of this magnificent project and structure. Avanto, the architect, as well as the practice of going in ice swimming. So that's it. It's been a great time to be with the Finns. In a personal note, is I feel that I'm not finished, even though I'm not finished, I feel very touched by the people in Finland and the depth that they have in love of sauna as a lead-in to just being very soulful, great people, all 12 that I sat down with. I consider them friends. I hope they consider me a friend, and by extension, you listening to Sauna Times' Sauna Talk. You, I hope, consider yourself a friend of these wonderful people in the world of sauna. This episode of Sauna Talk is sponsored by Lampa Manufacturing from Tower, Minnesota. Lampa Manufacturing, the mastermind behind the Kuma sauna stove products, is a small family-owned company that believes in always making the best units they know how and continues striving to make them better and safer. Sauna Times offers a wide selection of Kuma products for all your authentic sauna building needs. My history goes back at least 25 years. I've owned 2 Kuma stoves that I bought new. One in 1996, the other in 2003, and both are running as well as the day I purchased them. They are built like tanks, and they produce the best heat that I've ever experienced. I'm very pleased to partner with Lampa Manufacturing as an authorized distributor for the products, and they can be ordered on saunatimes.com. You look at the top and the shop button, and we're very happy to provide these wonderful sauna stoves for you. Another personal note I'd like to share is I had the good fortune to have Dara Lampa on the podcast. You can search Sauna Times podcast, and you'll hear from probably one of the top experts in the world about wood burning and the process of it, the clean burning, the efficient burning, sustainable heat source. So check it out, and welcome to this episode of Sauna Talk. Wow, it's a stunningly beautiful morning here in Helsinki, and short sleeve, right?
Mm-hmm.
About short sleeve.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting with
Jasper Pääkkönen.
And Jasper,
that's the Finnish pronunciation.
Right. And how many people call you Jasper versus Jasper?
Well, Americans usually tend to go the Jasper route until I usually introduce myself Jasper, which is a compromise between Jasper and my real name, Jasper.
A little hybrid, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
cool.
But I never even pay attention to it anymore.
Yeah,
I've gotten so used to it.
That's great. And how are you known? Like, give us a quick little background. Let me ask you a quick question. If you were walking down the street, like on your way to our interview here this morning, are you recognized? Do people?
Yeah. So I'm an actor in Finland. I've been an actor since the late 90s. Done a bunch of film and TV series, and recently, a few years ago, I started working on a more international level. My first real international job was on a TV show called The Vikings, which is an American TV show, History Channel, and then after that, I played the bad guy in Spike Lee's film Black Clansman. So I've sort of ventured out to the international scene.
And you ventured out into the dark side, being the bad guy.
Right. Yeah.
You seem like a nice guy. Is it hard to switch that on and off, being a nice guy?
Well, it's actually it's the most interesting part for me in terms of being an actor is the opportunity to play something completely different. And playing the bad guy is always the most fun part. So yeah, I'd much rather do that.
On set and all that, why is the bad guy the more fun part?
It all comes down to when we were kids, you know. You'd much rather be the bad guy than the cop in kids play. So it's just, it's acting is basically make believe, and it's being little kids again, and actually getting paid for being a kid, and participating in silly games.
Right on. Where'd you grow up?
Here in Helsinki.
Right in town?
Yeah.
And tell us about some of your earlier recollections of sauna.
Well, I'd say pretty much every single Finnish family has the same history with saunas. We all go to the sauna together with the whole family, and a lot of my fondest memories with my family was in a Saturday night evening sauna with my mom and dad, and later on my little brother as well, when he was born.
Okay, so just to interject on that, how old was your little brother the first time you remember him joining your mother and father in sauna?
A few months, I'm sure, which is normal in Finland. Basically, babies start going to the sauna at the age of a few months,
well,
to half a year.
I must interject. I'm sure both my sons, Grant and Nate, who have seen the Spike Lee film, are going to be really psyched to know that you and I are connected.
Yeah.
They will relate to this. That How old is your younger brother?
He's 7 years younger than I am.
7 years
Yeah.
younger. Okay, so Grant is 4 years older than Nate. And I remember bringing Nate to sauna. You know those little plastic dish pans?
Yeah.
You do. Yeah, we would bring that down and fill it with lukewarm water.
Yeah.
And Nate was the same age as your younger brother, splashing around, looking up at his older brother and his older brother's friends, or his parents, Julie and I. So there's this beautiful synchronicity with sauna that your background is a lot like our family's background. Even though we're not Finnish, we applied that in our family at a very young age,
Yeah,
a couple,
yeah.
3 months. So
And it creates a certain bond, and what it also does, Finnish families always go to this. This might be, sound shocking for some Americans, but we always go to the sauna naked, and what it does is it just removes all the taboos. You start seeing people your family naked since the age of a few months, and it kind of strips away all taboos and all the things that for Americans are so uncomfortable when it comes to nudity.
interesting.
Nudity is always charged with a lot of taboos and a lot of sexuality, where in reality nudity is kind of like our state of being in
It's
childbirth.
it's as
it's the most
natural
natural state
Exactly.
of being for us.
Yeah.
And when you're stripped away from your clothes, you're kind of stripped away from a lot of barriers and a lot of roles and a lot of you can't
prejudices even.
Yeah, and so we kind of, I think Finnish people in general grow up to be quite healthy in terms of body image and in terms of like having a healthy relationship to nakedness or nudity. I remember going to the sauna with my grandparents and as a little kid, and kind of being curious about the wrinkly skin and that's how an old person's body looks like.
Right.
And it's just like a general curiosity a kid has at that stage, and when you grow up to it from a young age, there's never anything sexual about it. Come puberty, of course, when things start happening in your body and you've got hormones and such, the kids start getting more conscious of their body,
Self-conscious
exactly, of their the changes that are happening in their bodies, and that's when the boys start going with their dads and the girls start going with their moms.
Right.
And traditionally in Finland, sauna is the place where kind of like the tough, awkward conversations between a son and a dad, or a mother and a daughter are being had. Sauna would generally be the place where the dad to his teenage, preteen or teenage son has the mandatory sex education talk. The really awkward, weird, son, we have to talk about.
And
there's a couple of things we have to. You're at the age,
And that's
that
where the
we-
son is like reaching for the sauna door to say, I think I
like,
need to
Dad,
cool down
come
here.
on,
Dad."
I don't
rolling
need-
of the eyes.
Yeah,
and-
exactly.
Yeah, no, that's deeper. What you've explained about the nudity thing is a little bit deeper than. I'm glad we talked about that. It's something I really haven't touched upon with the other Finns that I've interviewed on this tour. But you framed that up very well, especially juxtaposed against what happens in other countries. And United States specifically, we have a very prudish place when it comes to nudity. It's only in the bedroom, and then you have this immediate association, with the sensuality element of nudity. But as you framed up, it's no big deal.
Yeah, exactly, and it shouldn't be. I remember I spent a year as an exchange student in Baltimore when I was 17, and I remember a lot of my best school buddies when we were talking about how Finland is and saunas, of course, and going to the sauna with my dad. They were shocked that I've seen my father naked. They thought. I mean, some of them thought that it's disgusting that I've seen my dad naked. I've sat in the same room with him naked, and it was just an absurd idea for them.
Right on.
Whereas for me, it's the most natural thing. I wouldn't even think about it. It's not even a thing.
Yeah, not even a
Not
thing.
until you see it with the eyes of a foreigner, you understand that in some other cultures who don't have the same rituals, who don't have the same, same
Growing
culture.
up,
Exactly.
growing up with that. Yeah.
It's considered something mind blowing.
Right on. You mentioned growing up sauna with your younger brother, a couple months old. Where was that sauna? In Helsinki or in the country?
Yeah. So my childhood home is about 10-15 minute drive away from right where we are now, still within the Helsinki city limits. And in our basement, we just had a little sauna. So I mean, pretty much every single family has a sauna in their homes. There's more saunas in Finland than there are cars, so it's more common for someone to own a sauna than it is to own a car, which means everybody has one.
So not putting you on the spot too much, but you are a sauna. Well, any Finn is a sauna. A great line. What one of your employees said to me, "Oh yeah, Finland is a country of down at Lolu. Yeah, Finland's a country of 5.5 million people and 5.5 sauna experts."
Yeah, exactly.
So you're a self-proclaimed sauna expert. So I can ask you this technical question. I've been told through multiple sources and multiple journals there are approximately 3.3 million saunas in this country. If you had to take a guess today, what percent of that 3.3 million would be wood-fired versus electric?
My completely uneducated guess would be roughly half and half.
Okay.
Could be heavy actually on the wood-fired ones because a lot of those saunas are in the countryside.
Right on.
A lot of those saunas are at a little summer cabin, your summer house, a lakeside sauna, and a lot of our a Finn's dream summer cabin would be one with kind of like an off the grid experience. That's a part of the charm of for us to go to the summer cabin.
Yeah.
So it has to be wood fired.
Right on.
Right
on. Right.
And
right.
but probably more importantly, when you go to the sauna, when you do a sauna the Finnish way, a very essential part of the whole experience is actually sparking the sauna heater and adding wood and little by little heating it up. It's a ritual, and it's almost when you're at a summer cabin. It's almost like sometimes it's like a competition who gets to go and heat the sauna because everybody wants to do it. Usually it's the guys who want to do it. It's kind of like a manly thing.
To get out of the house.
I want to put the fire. I want to light the fire and I want to stack the wood. Everybody has like a preferable way of stacking the heater and stacking the wood inside and.
You touched on something significant there about the guys want to do that. I mean, I'm wondering about the primal aspect. I mean, the human species has been around for 10,000 years, and sauna goes back in many cultures in different forms for thousands of years. And there's this primal connection we have to fire good.
Yeah, absolutely. I think about that a lot with another passion of mine, which is fishing. I started fishing when I was less than 2 years old, and my mom and dad tell me that I was incredibly passionate about fishing at that age, and it has to be something very primal. It has to be something that comes out of from our DNA and from the spine and something from tens or hundreds of generations ago. Fire, water.
Survival.
Food, exactly. Providing food, catching something, picking berries, picking mushrooms. Those sort of things are something that, especially for us Finns, because we have an abundance of nature, and pretty much everybody from the population of 5.5 million people spends, generally speaking, spends a lot of time in nature.
Yeah.
And we spend a lot of time picking berries and fishing and.
Can I interject on that one? Every man's rights.
Yeah.
Can you speak to that for listeners, what it is and what it means to Finland and the Finnish people?
This might actually be quite an exotic thought or idea for many Americans. In Finland, we have a thing called every man's right, which means that every man and woman is allowed to roam freely in nature, no matter what the nature is, no matter who it's owned. So a lot of the land is privately owned, but everybody has a right to roam everywhere in Finland, except for in the immediate yard. You know, you can't walk into somebody's backyard.
Yeah, and look in their window and say, "I got every man's rights.
Yeah,
What's for
yeah,
breakfast?"
Right, right. Which is common sense.
It is.
You know, nobody would do that. Nobody in their right mind would do that. So Finns spend a lot of time in nature because nature is everywhere and nature is always accessible. You can just, park your car when you see a forest and walk. And even if it's privately owned, you would never, ever, ever have to be concerned about the owner, because for every single landowner as well, they all know that it's, that's how it is, and it's a part of our culture. What makes it exotic for Americans is, in America, when land is privately owned, it's often fenced off and it has warning signs saying beware the dog, or trespassers will be shot. But in Finland, again, for hundreds and hundreds of years, basically for an eternity, land and nature and forest has always been everybody's right. So we don't even have a concept of thinking about land as something you can fence off. You can't ban people from entering it.
Thus, there's so much to unpack on that. Thus, the connection to the Native American culture. So that was the philosophy, and still is in Native American land. We don't own Native American philosophy is that land is not owned by man. Land is with man.
Yeah, right. And again, some American might think, oh, poor landowners, I bet they're suffering or fighting for their rights, but it's wrong. I've never ever heard of a landowner thinking that they should have the right to pull a fence around their land and ban people from accessing that piece of land. That sort of mentality does not exist.
I think what comes with that also potentially is this idea of mutual respect for each other, the human, So you become, I think another word that comes to mind when I think of your country, Finland, here, is respect for others.
Yeah.
So no one will go on land that's owned by someone else and take advantage of it.
Exactly. Yeah.
We'll respect it.
Yeah. It's again, for us Finns, it's kind of like common sense.
Yeah.
It's something that we don't even have to think about because it comes natural. But you're also right about the respectful part of the Finnish society and culture. Finland is a very equal society, and it's very flat in terms of social classes or differences between social classes, and that all comes from a few things. But I think one of the main things, if not the main thing, is the fact that Finnish education system is very open. The education is free for all. We don't have private schools, so you never get separated by the wealth of the family. Kids don't get put into the wealthy school or the poor people's school, as they, generally speaking, do in some other parts of the world.
Yes, you can buy good education.
Exactly.
Buy into college. Have you heard in the United States about this weird conspiracy about like Hollywood actors or famous business people? I think it was out in California, buying their way into USC.
Oh yeah. It's a court case.
Yes, that's right.
People got convicted because they were cheating. They were bribing their kids to schools
in a desperate attempt for a societal
status. Yeah. It's a status thing. It's an ego thing, and it's also. Unfortunately, it's a thing where if you don't have papers from a certain school, it's harder for you to succeed. Whereas in Finland, that doesn't exist because we don't have Ivy League schools where education would cost hundreds of thousands of dollars. University education is free for all, up to the highest level, and the Finnish education system has been ranked number 1 many years in a row. I think now we're down to number 2 or 3, so we've lost the number 1 spot, but we're still up in like top 5.
Yep. And go ahead.
So what I was saying is the fact that kids never, when they grow up, they go to kindergarten, they go to elementary school, and they learn, or let's put it this way, they never learn that families from different backgrounds would be worth more or less. Every kid is equal. So you'd literally have the kids from families of the biggest CEOs in Finland go to the same class with kids from unemployed families, and kids don't, when that's what they learn, that's how they grow up, and
no envy.
Exactly,
and no
exactly.
greed.
Yeah, you never get taught that there are different classes, different social classes. Everybody's playing on the same yard, and everybody's friends with each other. And then that's the second time later on in adulthood, when that same sort of setting becomes a reality, is inside a sauna. When Finnish men or Finnish people go to a sauna, a public sauna, for example, like mine, like Löyly, which we'll come to a little later. Everybody's equal. Everybody's in the sauna, and when you're stripped away from your clothes, you're stripped away from your wallet. There are no social classes. It doesn't exist anymore. So you have the CEOs and the construction workers and the unemployed sitting in the same sauna, sharing the same experience and enjoying the thing that we Finns love deeply, and all titles and statuses are gone.
Beautiful. Löyly, the project.
Löyly.
Löyly.
I know it's impossible.
L-O-W. Like if you Löyly.
The is a tricky one, and combining it with the U is even trickier. Löyly.
But it's a perfect name for the sauna restaurant, sauna facility. How did the idea come about, and how long ago was it?
So Löyly is just for someone listening who doesn't know, Löyly is a public sauna in Helsinki by the water, but it's also a restaurant and a bar. So half of the building, half of the place is a spa, and the other half is a restaurant. I built it with one of my best friends 3 years ago. We got a crazy idea that we should build the most magnificent sauna building in the whole world, and we set a goal, a very ambitious yet probably a bit naive goal, that we want to build something that nobody's ever seen before, a landmark for the city of Helsinki. And we worked with architects and basically gave them free hands, the liberty to come up with anything they can ever imagine in terms of a Finnish, Nordic design, wood, glass, very sleek Nordic design structure.
Iconic.
Yes, that would become a landmark for the capital of Finland. And I think we eventually kind of succeeded in what we set out to do. Just last year, Time magazine named Löyly as one of their world's 100 greatest places. So we made the Time, top 100 list as the only place from Finland, and one of the very few places from all of the Nordic countries, and it's become quite an important destination for people who visit Helsinki from abroad to see in Helsinki, because it combines a few things that have appeal. It combines award-winning architecture.
Who is the architect?
Would
you like to give a shout out here?
Avanto. Architects.
Avanto.
Avanto means the hole in the ice.
Oh, it does.
Yeah.
So that's the name of the architect firm?
Yeah.
Well, how fitting.
And they're not really specialized in anything sauna related. It's
just a great name.
Avanto is a very Finnish thing.
Yes.
Every Finn knows what Avanto is, because we swim in the wintertime in the hole in the ice.
Yes, let me just rewind for those not familiar listening to Sauna Talk. Two key words in Finnish sauna culture and culture in general. Avanto is by English definition. Do you want to say it, or should I? Or?
Yeah.
It's a hole in the ice for winter swimming.
Yeah.
And it's not all. The cool thing about Avanto is it's not always 100% associated with sauna. Some people and a lot of people.
A lot of people, yeah.
Yeah,
they do.
They'll
go.
cold swim irrespective of sauna.
Yeah, yeah. A lot of people start their day before they go to the office. They'll drive to the local Avanto. They'll take a quick dip.
We're talking November through March or
Yeah,
wherever
yeah.
it is.
Whenever the sea freezes over, that's when you have the Avantos and or the lakes freeze over.
Yeah, right on.
And yeah, then they'll put their clothes back on and drive to work, drive to the office.
Let's talk about that for a moment. Avanto, cold swimming, ice swimming, all this, separate from sauna. How do you feel that for those never experienced this? A lot of people listen to Sauna Talk may only know the sauna experience as it relates to a health club, Texas, California, who knows where in the U.S. where there is no ice outside and there is no sauna adjacent to nature.
Right.
Sauna aside, in the culture of the Finnish people, Avanto, cold ice swimming, how is it important or healthy? Would you say?
Yeah, I mean, there's a ton of science behind it. There's a ton of scientific evidence proving that that the cold plunge is a very healthy thing to do in general. You know, it shocks your body, but in a very healthy way.
Right.
I don't go to the Avanto without the sauna. So for my ritual of winter swimming or ice swimming is I start in a sauna. I take a dip in the hole in the ice. I go back to the sauna, back to the hole in the ice, and I do that usually 4 times back and forth.
Yeah.
That's my ritual, but like we spoke about, a lot of times people here in Finland, they do it even without the sauna.
Right. A quick
just as an invigorating plunge, you know, it gets your blood flowing. You surprisingly for maybe some listeners, you feel incredibly hot afterwards. You know, your body heats up and generally generates a lot of warmth.
The science that Jasper is speaking of is this idea of circulation, and the body has this internal mechanism to create warmth. For those never experience it, for those that operate themselves in 68 degrees Fahrenheit for 90 whatever % of their lives, have lost touch. Does Wim Hof come to mind? You know his work. Yeah. He's this ability to control your autonomic nervous system through temperature extremes, the extreme cold. What he's tapped into is back to this whole primal connection.
Yeah.
We've become so anesthetized to a very tight range of climate that we're losing something, arguably, agreeably by me, in our makeup when we're not exposed to this temperature extreme.
Right. Yeah.
So go ahead.
I think you were saying there's 2 very emblematic words in Finnish related to saunas,
That's
and
right.
I'm guessing the other one is löyly, which is the name of my spa. And for those who don't know, löyly, the Finnish word, means the steam when you throw water onto the sauna heater's rocks. It's the steam that's generated. But it's also, löyly is also kind of like an abstract spirit of the sauna, and each and every, it's the feel of the sauna, and each and every sauna has their own distinct löyly. So for Finland, having 3.3 million saunas, we have 3.3 million different unique löylys in those saunas. So not only is it the concrete heat and steam that's generated, the water that boils on the burning hot rocks, but it's also a very abstract term.
Thank you.
The spirit of the sauna.
And this is my number right now is 39, maybe 38, 39. This is day 10, 11. I'm keeping score.
Yep.
But I was asking a sauna pro, a gentleman by the name of Jarmo Lehtinen, who I've had the pleasure of spending a few days with. I would give him a higher ranking. I'd call him an expert. A pro is one that gets paid for their work.
Right.
He doesn't take a nickel for what he's doing.
Yeah.
And he's an expert. He's been in 1,000 different saunas in Finland, and he takes this beautiful practice very seriously.
Yeah.
Anyway, I was keeping score, right? And I asked him. I said, Jarmo, the Finnish Sauna Society, we went into 4 different hot rooms. Do I count the Finnish Sauna Society as one, or do I count that as 4 on my scorecard?
That's 4.
Exactly. And
Because they're all different. Every sauna is different.
and he said, yeah, every sauna has its own soul.
Yeah.
It's a spiritual thing.
Yeah, it is. It really is. And for Finns, who are quite, generally speaking, quite secular, we're as a culture, all of the Scandinavian and the Nordic countries are quite non-religious in a way, or we have a very practical approach to religion. In a way, I think sauna is the equivalent of going to church for some Finns. It's a place for your mind and body to get purified. It's a place to shed your daily stress and your daily sorrows and your daily concerns, and it's a place of peace and quiet, and a lot of those attributes apply to a kind of like a spiritual experience as well.
Yeah.
I can imagine. I haven't done a lot of sitting in churches myself, but I can imagine some people like to sit in a church for the same exact reasons why Finns sit in a sauna.
Well said. Very good. I felt it. I felt the spirit of. It's a place of very deep soul, and church can be that. Whether you're religious or not, there's
Right.
something powerful about the place itself.
Yeah.
Of course, what's great about sauna, and not to compare it to a church, is there is this there's bathing, there's relaxation, there's connectivity, we are all equal. There are so many, wonderful elements beyond a place you go, and read the hymns and that. So, hygienics is another one. I gave you a pair of Troxers, this new product, and I brought just kind of skipping around on topics here. I brought like 4 pair of boxer shorts. And I've always wanted to wear the Troxers because I never know where my next sauna is going to
Right.
be here in Finland. And it's been great. Now, a lot of saunas are naked, but there are a lot of saunas that are co-ed, Lolu included.
Yep.
So it's been really wonderful just to have that. And I've worn this shirt every day now. I think after day 3 or 4, I stopped trying to change shirts because
Right.
what I'm leading up to is I've never felt so clean taking these many saunas.
Exactly.
And I think the people at Airbnbs and the hotels and the places I've been staying must be like, what's up with this guy? Because I have not yet used the shower in any of these places. And I'm clean, and I'm super clean.
Yeah. You're not only cleansing your skin on the surface, but you're sweating out so much of your toxins. It's a deep cleanse, essentially. That's what it is. Your body is pushing with the sweat. It's pushing a lot of the impurities and the toxins out of your system.
Yeah.
And then you're washing it off after a sauna.
That's right. My next trip, I may not bring any bags.
Yeah. Yep.
I've washed the socks because I've been doing some great hiking,
Right,
by the way,
yeah.
and we'll come back to that in a moment. There's something else I wanted to share with you about that as an observation. But anyone listening that wants to do a sauna tour, I want to encourage you to bring less clothes than more clothes.
Yeah.
You'll be shocked at how clean you are. The other shocking thing is about sleep and being refreshed. So, jet lag's always a thing, and I know you travel across the Atlantic quite a bit.
Yeah.
The first day or two, I'll admit, I was a little out of it, but I got right on the Finnish clock. But I found myself waking up like 4 hours after I went to bed, like totally awake after an aggressive sauna session, maybe 2 or 3 in the day. But I think my mind was just so like revved up with who I was visiting with and trying to document this trip, each day, that my mind needed to race through and process everything. And I'm like, okay, got to get to sleep. And then, it's a beautiful time of year here, May. It's very light, 11:30 at night, and then it's getting light at 4:30 in the morning. So it's like, no, it's too early. But the moral of the story, Jasper, is that 5 hours sleep, 6 hours max, and I'm popped up like, where's the next sauna?
Right.
It's incredibly invigorating,
It
this
is, yeah.
trip for me.
And saunas, Finns have known for centuries, instinctively known for centuries that sauna is very healthy. It's a part of, for us, it's always been a part of taking care of our health.
Yeah.
But not until the other recent years have we had significant science to back up those beliefs.
Exactly.
And now there's bulletproof scientific evidence, which I'm sure you've already touched upon on the podcast.
Exactly.
About how really healthy sauna actually is.
This you've touched on something really significant, Jasper. That's one of the reasons why I started the podcast, and one of the reasons why I'm here in Finland right now is I want to stay to the positive, but I also want to be realistic and talk about how sauna, in my mind, is at the risk of being marginalized and fragmented in the States, the country I know. A lot of marketing is being applied to these positive studies about sauna, and being applied toward what you and I know is not sauna, and that to me is dangerous territory. And the Finns that I visited with, I won't say they're kind of myopic about it or tunnel visioned about it, but what I love about the Finns is like the Finns know what sauna is, and the process of good sauna, good lolu, good proper cool downs, leaving your cell phone behind, there's no time, all of these elements of sauna that you and I experience. And I mentioned to them, well, this infrared thing, people are marketing these little closets that you can assemble in your living room in 20 minutes and in the same power requirement as a toaster, plug in and you have these light bulbs, and those companies are applying all the health benefits of what we know as sauna to that product. And so you have that. And then another line that a good friend of mine, Mikael Olin, mentioned at a sweat summit. He says, America's a land where 80% of the saunas are bad and the other 20% are worse.
Yeah, that's true. Unfortunately, that's true.
I'm glad you said that. See, you're getting a little American. See, when I say that to Finns, they're like, well, what happens over there, it's up to them. But,
right.
But you've acknowledged this.
I mean, those would be Finns who've never visited an American sauna.
Okay.
The American saunas are horrible. They're built the wrong way. The sauna heater is generally speaking too small.
Too few rocks.
Yeah, to a room that's way too big, and it can't heat the space.
Ventilation.
Ventilation is the thing. The seats are usually too low. You're supposed to sit quite high up in the
with your feet
in the room.
Your feet to the rock level.
Yeah,
or above.
your feet. Yeah, exactly, to the rock level or above. So your whole body gets heated by the hot air.
Yeah. And how about saunas at health clubs where the door from the lolu room, the hot room, empties out into a pool with the chemical?
With chlorine?
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, I'd still say the biggest problems are within the sauna room itself.
Agreed.
The fact that most health club saunas have a sign banning you from throwing water onto the sauna heater, where in reality those rocks in every single sauna heater they're there for one reason, and one reason only, to have water poured on them. Because the lolu, again, the steam generated by that water, is a very essential part of the whole sauna experience. You don't do a sauna properly unless you throw water onto the sauna heater's rocks. And then Americans say, oh, but it's an electric heater and you'll get electrocuted if you throw water onto it. The majority, I'd say 99% of those heaters are made in Finland, and each and every single one of them is meant to have water poured on them. That's the purpose, the whole function of the sauna heater.
Yeah.
So Americans are very afraid, and there's a lot of just misunderstandings when it comes to saunas.
Yeah. Does it bother you, like say you're in the States and you go to a health club somewhere and you're traveling and you see a sauna? Do you go to sauna in the States?
Yeah. I mean, if I go to the gym, I'll use the sauna. I'll sit there and make the best out of it, and I'll usually bring my own, bottle of water or bucket of water that I can throw the water onto the heater from, which pretty much every single time results in a heated argument with a local who says you're not supposed to do that for various reasons. And then I patiently explain that I'm I'm a Finn, and this heater is made in Finland, and this is what you're supposed to do with it. And I get people try to educate me about the fact that it's a dry sauna and you're not supposed to throw water because it ruins the dry sauna, and some people are afraid of getting electrocuted, and different arguments against throwing water onto the rocks. So it's a bit frustrating at times to do that, but I'm also happy to hopefully educate more and more people into the right sauna practices.
Thank you.
The right way of enjoying,
Right.
truly enjoying a sauna.
Because it's the benefits are so great, and to come up so short is not the best. It's not great for Finland or the word sauna. We have our work cut out for us, and I'm really motivated now after this trip to change culture in America as it relates to sauna. Maybe it takes an American to do it. I don't know, or a team, a collaboration in a way. I've been building great saunas. This is another great thing for this trip is the saunas that I'm building in Minnesota, helping others is good. There's a couple of small changes. I always put a crack along the bottom of the door for ventilation, but I realize I need to be raising that up more, like, I don't know, maybe 10 centimeters. The other thing I was always, when I would build saunas or recommend is, I would put a small mat over the floor made of wood, so your feet aren't on cement in the Lolu room. But I realize now I would almost call it like a platform or a third bench. I really love how when you step into the hot room, you step up. And then low bench, then upper bench. And I'm going to start building my saunas higher. 7 feet was always the height. But I realized that to get your feet at the rock level, we need to ramp that up more. So these are really important alterations but the main thing is...
But then again, they're very simple as well.
That's
so
right.
Building a real good sauna is not rocket science. It's actually one of the most simple things. As long as you know these little details, the very basic principles, it's probably one of the easiest thing you can build in a home.
Or even better, separate from a home. The sauna experience, the sauna is a thing you do. It's a noun, it's a verb, it's an adjective, it seems. Well, the noun part of it is I'm going to sauna, like it's a place. Many saunas are their own buildings with multiple rooms inside. I think that's a real psychological advantage in that it's representative of leaving your busy world behind. So you can leave your house or your cottage or your cabin and go to this separate building. You mentioned earlier about the ritual of firing up the stove and getting that going. But how magical is it for you to have a sauna as its own place?
Usually in a Finnish summer cabin that we all have, and it's very dear to us Finns. It's always a separate little cabin, your own little sauna cabin.
Right on.
Very simple, because it needs no insulation. It's basically just a few planks, wood planks, like piled into a little hut. And then you have a sauna heater and the bench you sit on, and that's all you need. A window to look at, preferably to look outside and see the water. That's
waiting for you to
exactly.
plunge after.
Exactly.
Back to Lolu. Jumping around. I want to be respectful to your time, but thank you again for our visit today.
Absolutely.
And the bar, the restaurant, the sauna. It's like slash, sauna slash bar slash restaurant, multifunctional. Working with Avanto, the architect, 3 years old now. Time Magazine, 100 places to visit.
World's 100 greatest places.
Isn't that amazing what you've done?
Because Time always has these top 100 lists. They have the 100 most influential people and the world's 100 most influential people and world's 100 this and that. And last year, their top 100 listing was world's 100 greatest places.
How often do you visit your Lolu?
When I'm in Helsinki, pretty much every day. But I'm traveling so much that I'm probably in Helsinki not more than 3 or 4 months a year, which is Helsinki is still my home, but that's pretty much the amount of time I spend home nowadays.
What does it mean for you when you go to Lolu and what's your partner's name?
Actually, previous partner. I bought my business partner out about a half a year ago.
Okay, so it's all your place.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
You walk through the doors of your facility. It's your staff. It's you. The Lolu is you. What does it feel like to overhear some guests, maybe certainly not, let's just say non-Finns, talking in English, towels maybe coming out from the sea, their first experiences of what I have to call authentic sauna, but what you call sauna, experiencing the real deal. What does that feel like to you to see people experiencing Lolu?
Of course, it makes me proud as a Finn, not as the owner of the place, but as a Finn, that people have had the opportunity to experience something uniquely Finnish. We Finns don't have a lot of things to be proud about. That's how we feel about our culture and ourselves. We've always felt this overwhelming sense of humbleness or modesty that there's not a whole lot of great things coming out of Finland, and sauna would be one of the only things that we can actually be proud about. And the fact that a visitor comes all the way to one of the most remote parts of the world, Finland, and then wants to experience something uniquely Finnish is a matter of pride for us. And I'm so happy that I have a place in Helsinki that offers that chance for visitors.
Very good. Any future? So when I visited your place, Lolu, I had the opportunity to go to the check-in counter and visit with the staff, and it's full.
Right.
It's full. Can you speak to the occupancy rates of Lolu?
It's quite full all the time. I'd say it's full every day. It's become a place that is. I'd say half of the visitors in the sauna are Finnish, are locals, and the other half is tourists. And on an average day, you can have Spanish and Chinese and Japanese and American English, British English, some French, and a couple of other obscure languages spoken in the sauna. You have a lot of different nationalities, and but what we wanted to do with Lolu is keep it extremely accessible. So despite it being kind of like luxurious in terms of the architecture, we wanted to make it incredibly accessible so that everybody has a chance to experience it. We charged 19 euros for the entry, which if Lolu was in America, I'm sure the entry fee would be at least $50.
Exactly.
So 19, roughly $20.
For a real experience.
Exactly. Yeah. So we didn't want to price it at a premium price point, because that would eliminate the whole spirit of Finnish sauna in itself. The sauna should be accessible for everyone. It's been an interesting 3 years.
Right. Does it take much time for you now? You have good employees over there, good operations. It seems to be tuned, the tuned on many levels. The lighting of the fires, the operations, the coming and the going, and being full as it is. There's a lot of moving parts. People coming, people going. The towels, the check-in, the wristband. Maybe it's a twofold question. How active are you in the day-to-day? How tuned is the operation? And what's your check-in points like as an owner of this facility?
Well, I have a great team running the business. So the team in Lolu is such a fantastic one that I really don't have to do anything else but just enjoy the sauna. When I go in, I jump in the sauna, and then I eat something afterwards, and the only thing I basically do is I keep my eye on little details. If I see something wrong, I'll mention it, and I usually don't see anything wrong.
Right.
So it almost runs itself with the great team of people working in Lille.
That's great, because you don't need a phone call, when you land in New York or Croatia, where you were this week, and say, hey, the stove is this, or
No.
Isn't
Everything's off.
Yeah. Let's speak
Easy.
real quick to. Go ahead. Yeah.
I have to run soon.
Okay.
It's 11:30 almost.
Okay. Can we walk? And I'm going to ask you a couple questions.
Sure. But
Yeah.
I'm going to the next building right across.
All right. Okay. Great.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, man. As you think about a day for sauna, you wake up and you know you're going to take a sauna, and then you light the fire, step in for round one. All of these rituals that we've discussed. What's your favorite moment for a whole day for sauna? Even at the end, after 3-4 rounds, like you've said, where you go to, you're going in the lake and all that. Is there a moment that you love most about a complete sauna session?
I guess they're the moments in between saunas, after a dip in the sea or the lake.
Yeah.
Just the rush of feel-good hormones and the heat that's generated by your body, and
Yes.
and the very serene, peaceful feeling after. It's just.
Yeah. Between sessions, maybe on the dock or right after a plunge.
Yeah, exactly.
How about last question for you? We're stepping. Hey, I got to mention one more thing. What I love about your city is walking over to see you. There's a sidewalk for walking. There's part of a sidewalk for the bicycle.
Yeah.
There's the car, and then there's a tram. It's like freedom, like whatever you want to do, however you want to get from A to B, right?
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
beautiful. If you
I
could,
use these electric scooters.
yeah, they're cool.
little-
But add that. There's 5 options, or the city bike system.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, 6 things. Hey, if you could sauna with anybody, Jasper, in the world, anyone dead or alive, past, present, an imaginary opportunity, what's the first person that comes to mind that you'd like to sit on the sauna bench with?
Oh man. Well, I accomplished one of those missions when Spike Lee came to Finland after we shot Black Clansman, and I was sitting with Spike
Right on.
in the sauna in Lode.
And
I thought
you
that
had
was-
been thinking, I want to do this as a goal, an intention.
Well, not actively. Not really. But it's more. It's one of those moments where you just go, oh wow,
Yeah.
it actually,
Yeah.
Spike actually came to Helsinki, and now we're sitting in a sauna. So again, for a Finn, it's a very proud moment, because I
Yeah.
got to show something, something uniquely Finnish, and something that I love, and
Yeah. It's contagious.
yeah.
Yeah, and I think good sauna is contagious. So we're on the road to better saunas. Here with Jasper. Thanks for visiting today.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It's
Thank
so
you.
wonderful to visit
Yeah.
with you.
Thank you.
Cheers.